Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. Jo here with SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X. We've got an absolutely loaded slate out there, and we only had those two games yesterday, not going the way that I had hoped and expected in either of those games. But let's get back on track with a big night tonight with all of these games on deck. So good morning to each and every one of you. I hope you are staying warm out there. It's definitely a cold and foggy day here in YYC. Let me know how the weather is where you're at. But we're going to jump firstly into the LA Kings. They're taking on the New Jersey Devils. Now, all odds are over on FanDuel. The LA Kings rolling in as the underdog, and this team is rolling hot as of late. They're plus 126 on that money line. The New Jersey Devils at minus 152. Total of 5.5. Low total in this one, but understandably why. The over 5.5 is minus 122, and the under is plus 100. Now, I'm going to let you guys know if you are over bettors, you're not going to like me today. I'm liking a lot of unders in these matchups. I do think this one can stay under that total of 5.5. I'll take a chance at the plus 100 mark for this one to be a 3-2 style game that I think the LA Kings have every opportunity of winning. If the LA Kings are to win this, they need to stay out of the box. They need to be disciplined out here. They took 3 penalties in their last win versus the Isles. If they do that here versus the New Jersey Devils, the Devils will capitalize. They've got the best power play in the league. That power play is clicking at 31.3%. So if the Kings can play a disciplined game, they have every opportunity to continue rolling hot. They've won their last 6 games. They got that win on Tuesday, 3-1 versus the Isles on the road. So they were lucky. They were lucky the Isles weren't able to capitalize. Their special teams just not coming out strong enough to hit the Kings. So they will need in this one to stay strong. They've won their last 8 versus the Metro as well. And when we look at last season, they were able to sweep both of the games versus the New Jersey Devils. So they were able to get those wins last time. Yeah, let's make some freaking money. You know what? Actually, Dennis, I'm going to ask my mother if she is going to the game tonight. She is finally back from Paris, and they haven't been to a game for a while. So, but you look, Dustin Wolf is getting the start. Calgary versus Tampa. We'll get into that one in a little bit. I will send her a message and see if she is going. You're fading the Ducks. Yeah, the Ducks. It's a good fade position for the Ducks tonight. So we'll get into that one. I like where you're going with that. So the Kings, I'm going to look at the under 5.5. Going to look for the Kings to stay out of the box, play discipline, and for them to get the win with that beautiful plus money. Okay. And the next game we have on deck is the Detroit Red Wings taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, odds on this one, the Flyers are a minus 122 favorite, plus 102 on FanDuel for the Detroit Red Wings, total 6.5. The 6.5 juice to the under at minus 130. I'm just going to look at the plus money here with the Red Wings. I look at this and I do think the Red Wings have the better goaltender in Cam Talbot getting the start versus Kolosov, if I'm pronouncing his name right, for the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers are only averaging that 2.93 goals per game. Their power play is 17.5% conversion rate. We're seeing those shots on goal being allowed by the Detroit Red Wings, but this team is one that I have more faith in Cam Talbot, like I said, to get those stops. Now, they're off that road win versus the Sabres in the shootout. It was a 6-5 win that they were able to get there, and I think they bring that momentum into this game. I just think they're the stronger team. You look at the Flyers, and yes, they have been strong. They've actually been able to win 7 of their last 8 home games versus the Red Wings, so they do have those trends on their side. But this team, I don't know, they play again in Detroit on Wednesday. I really do see the Detroit Red Wings getting the win tonight. The Detroit Red Wings also, when you look at the schedule, when you look here for the Flyers, they play today and then they play again on Wednesday in Detroit. when we look at Detroit, their schedule, they have the Leafs at home. So we're looking at, I don't know, it's just not a good spot here for me for the Flyers. I'm just not believing in this team. There's not much more than I can say than it's a gut feeling that the Red Wings are going to come out and win, because all the trends do point to the Flyers. There's a lot of reasoning. You also look at the Flyers, this is their fourth game in 6 nights. So I think tired legs will come out here to be a factor as well. As you can tell, this is my favorite game of the day, you guys, but I do think the Red Wings will pull it off on the road. Before I forget, here for the LA Kings and the New Jersey Devils, I forgot to give you some player props that I'm looking at. Timo Meier has been extremely hot for the Devils. His goal tonight at plus 250. His shots on goal for plus at plus 172. I think both are in play. You look at his last 10 games versus the Kings, and I love to look at these players that really step up versus certain teams. Timo Meier, 10 goals and 5 assists in the last 10 versus the Kings. Now, Kopitar has been playing hot as well. His assist tonight for the LA Kings coming in at plus 110. He's had an assist in his last 4 and 8 assists in his last 9. So he has been playing strong out there for the Kings. Again, I think this is a lower scoring game, so it's harder to hit on those player props. But if you want them, that's where I would be going. The Pittsburgh Penguins next take on the Montreal Canadiens. Now, we got a slight dog in Montreal at minus 102 here versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, who've been rolling hot as of late. Can they keep this hot-ish streak going here? They could versus Montreal, but I don't like them to. Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield, I think this team is clicking right now, especially offensively. And we know Pittsburgh has gone through this season with their biggest issues being defense and goaltending. Offensively, they've been able to get up in these games. Montreal is a team that always continues to fight back, never says die. So I'm hoping in this one the Pittsburgh Penguins go up first, and then we can come back in on the Montreal Canadiens at a better price. I want some more plus money. At minus 104, yes, I will hit on it pregame, but if I'm then getting it, I'll put a half a unit. If I'm then getting it at great plus money, once and if the Penguins go up in that first period, then I'll be coming back in on Montreal. And you can do the same thing with the puck line if you think it's a tight game, because the Penguins have been rolling hotter. We've got a total of 6.5, minus 115 to the under. Now, looking at your goaltending matchup, we have Tristan Jarry here for the Pittsburgh Penguins and Sam Montague for the Montreal Canadiens. Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield, I think will both get on the board tonight. For Montreal, I'm looking for that offensive production. I think they'll hit Tristan Jarry. Like I said, this is the Pittsburgh Penguins team who we haven't been able to trust the defense and the goaltending. The offense has been clicking. We did see them lose their last game. That was to the Colorado Avalanche, 6-2. But they had been winning these games prior. Their offense had been stepping up. Defense and goaltending had been looking stronger, but I'm not buying into it. This is the first game of 2 on the road. They're at the Sens on Saturday, and the Montreal Canadiens are off that win versus the Anaheim Ducks in the shootout. That was a 3-2 win at home on Monday, so no travel has been involved for this team. The Montreal Canadiens 8-6-2 at home this season. The Pittsburgh Penguins terrible road record, 4-7-2. So it's Montreal in this one all day long. I just want more value. If you want to play half a unit like I will, on the home dog to start this game, that's at minus 104. But like I said, Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield, and I'll come back in on Montreal. Now, we did see the Pittsburgh Penguins win this matchup back in beginning of November. It was a 3-1 win. They have also won the last 5 meetings versus Montreal. So they've been able to beat the Montreal Canadiens. I don't care. I don't care. I'm stepping in front of them today. They're 4-0 in their last 4 on the puck line versus the Atlantic as well. So if you wanted a reason to bet them, that is where you're going. Thanks, Chip. Yeah, I just feel like the Red Wings are just such the better team over the Flyers. And I know the Flyers coming off that win, but I just looked at that line and I was like, why are the Red Wings the dog in this one? I just didn't like it at all. At the end of the recap, we will definitely give the top 5 with those player points for sure, Mo. So we will get to that. You guys, again, if you're just joining me now, we'll do the recap at the end of the show. I'll make sure I post the recap time as well, so anyone who can't hang around for the hour, because this is going to be a long show with so many games on the ice, can come back and just watch that recap for full game breakdown. Make sure you stay for the whole show. The Washington Capitals taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets is the next matchup. Now, the Washington Capitals coming in at minus 164. We've got plus 136 here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, total 6.5. We're going to have to lay juice to the over 6.5 in this one, and I don't want to take the full game. What I'm going to look at is Columbus's team total, and I know Columbus has been stepping up offensively as of late, but I do think they struggled to score here on Logan Thompson. I'm looking for the Columbus Blue Jackets here at home to go under 2.5 goals. It's nerve-wracking. I know it's coming in at plus 120, though. You're getting great plus money. You look at Logan Thompson, what he's been able to do out there on the ice. He's 11-1-2 on the season with a 2.48 goals against average. He's given up 2 or less goals in 4 of his last 5 games. And we look here at Columbus. Now, Columbus is off the loss to the Flyers on Tuesday, 5-3. So they gave up those goals. They were able to put 3 on the board, and their offense has done damage in some of these games. But even though they're here at home, I think with Logan Thompson in net, he will be able to shut them down. Now, they are going to have to make sure that they come out strong with their kill here so that they don't get completely blown out of the water, because we know the Washington Capitals are converting at 21.4%. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they average 9.5 penalty minutes per game. Their kill is right around the low 70s, 71.4. So they could get completely blown out of the water. There's not enough value, though, here for me to take the Washington Capitals laying the 1.5. Laying the 1.5 coming in at plus 142, and the Washington Capitals will face Greaves in net here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Jet Greaves. So I think they should be able to score, but I don't think that they want to keep running in this game and getting that huge blowout and really tiring out their team. I think they get up quick and they get up in that first period, and then they kind of just lock down here. So I don't want to lay the puck line, but I will take Columbus's team total under. Dylan Strome, though, if you want to look at that power play point, I like tonight. Dylan Strome for the power play point. In his, or on the season, 2 power play goals and 10 power play assists. So 12 power play points so far on the season. And with how weak the kill is here of the Columbus Blue Jackets, I can see that coming into play. So Dylan Strome for the power play point. Let me just grab that for you guys, what that value is coming in at. It's plus 200 for the power play point. So not a ton of value, but enough value for me to hit on him here in this one. I think he should be able to walk away with that tonight. I just don't trust Columbus, even though they're strong at home. This team is still 8th in the Metro, 8-4-1 at home. So they are playing their best hockey at home. But you look at the Washington Capitals, 11-2 on the road this season. They won the last 9 games on the road and covered the puck line in each and every one of those. Okay, the Anaheim Ducks versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's make some fucking money, Robert. That is for sure. It is definitely time. Chip hanging out in Montreal. Chip, do you speak French? Wish I spoke a second language. Anyone out there that speaks a second language, hats off to you guys. I know, I really wish I did. I tried to learn Spanish, you guys. It did not go well. The Anaheim Ducks versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's jump into this one now. The Anaheim Ducks had been covering that puck line until they had it, and they've been getting blown out. With the last 3, haven't been able to cover that puck line, and they were rolling so nicely and hot for us. We were able to just like, Ducks, puck line, let's go. Ducks, they went down, grabbed them back on the puck line, let's go. Not as easy as that anymore, but tonight the Toronto Maple Leafs are off a win. They're a minus 420 favorite. Who wants to lay that on anyone? It's a total of 5.5. The juice is on the over 5.5 at minus 142. The Anaheim Ducks plus 1.5 on that stupid puck line that has been crushing us. If you've been tailing me on that, is coming in at plus 126, and the Toronto Maple Leafs laying 1.5 is minus 154. So it's gross on the Leafs on that puck line. You have to do an alt puck line if you believe in the Leafs here. I just couldn't lay that kind of juice on them. Now, Dostal I trust in. So this is one where I just want to see if the goalie props are up for Dostal as of, yes, we got goalie props, and we only have Stolarz. Now, Stolarz is confirmed now for the Toronto Maple Leafs and not Joseph Woll. Stolarz has safe shots on goal prop of 25.5, minus 114 to either way, and I'm not touching it here for Stolarz. While I do think he could come out nice and strong The Ducks don't put up enough shots for me to trust in them to put up enough shots for him to go over and for that prop to cash, but I don't want to take it to the under either. We know the Anaheim Ducks have stepped up defensively out there on the road as well. Now, this team has lost their last 4. Like I said, big loss, second night of a back-to-back. They lost 5-1 last night with John Gibson in net, just crushing my hopes for that puck line bet. When we look here at the Leafs, they're off a 2-1 overtime win. So that was versus the Devils on Tuesday. So it is Thursday. They've had some rest. The Devils held them to only 17 shots on goal in that game. If the Anaheim Ducks can come out and limit the Leafs like the Devils did, which they won't be able to, but if they're able to hold them to maybe 24, 25, 26 shots on goal, Dostal has a fighting chance here to have a strong day. So I want Dostal's props. I really do. I think the Ducks have been better on the road for locking down defensively, for goaltending. They still are giving up those shots, but I need a big step up out of them, especially because you look at Toronto, they're sitting second in the Atlantic right now. The Florida Panthers are playing tonight. If Toronto is able to win and the Florida Panthers lose to the Vancouver Canucks, we're going to see Toronto move into that first place in the Atlantic. You know how important it is in these standings with the hockey season. These teams are always fighting for that first place within the division. So I do think Toronto will come out hard. I don't think they're going to look past the Ducks in this one. It's just a matter of finding value in this. I think you just look at the under, you guys. Could we see the Ducks go scoreless in this? We absolutely could, but I think the one thing that holds true is that under. Now, when we look at Dostal versus the Leafs, the last time versus the Leafs, last February, he allowed 4 goals. It was disgusting. 4 goals on 18 shots on net. His definitely the worst time ever versus Leafs. He's only faced them 3 times. The time before in January, it was like just weeks prior, he had like his best ever showing. Last season, he faced 56 shots on goal, and he stopped 55. And he made franchise history out there for the Anaheim Ducks. So you look at Dostal, if he can have one of those performances, we could see this game being the Leafs win 2-1, 2-0 or 1-0, right? Like if Dostal can come out and have that strong of a performance, because I think the Ducks are going to struggle to score. So if you just want to look at the Ducks team total, you could go there. I'll give you guys the Ducks team total if you just want to fade them, because there is always a possibility of the Toronto Maple Leafs doing what they did to Dostal in the last one out. I don't think so, though. I think Dostal has a stronger performance, but then again, you could look at the Ducks. Like I said, I think they struggle absolutely to score on Stallers tonight. I think the defense is buying in for the Toronto Maple Leafs, looking to lock down. So the Ducks team total under 1.5. It was 2.5 earlier. They have dropped it to under 1.5, which is great. The under 1.5 coming in at plus 150. It has such an ability. Now, if you believe the Ducks stay under 1.5 tonight at plus 150, you're going to have to bet that shutout prop there for Stallers. I really do feel if you're looking at one team to stay under 1.5 goals, you put, a little bit on that, and then you save maybe a quarter unit, half a unit to bet for the shutout there, for the goaltender that they're opposing. So that is how I like to go about these games when I'm looking at a team to really struggle out there on the ice to get those goals on the board. And I know we have some playmakers out there for the Anaheim Ducks. You've got Troy Terry, you've got Zegras, you've got all of these guys that can get the puck in the back of the net. But when you really look here at the playmakers, will be their second night of a back-to-back. They will have tired legs. They got blown out by the Sens. They're going to feel defeated coming in here to Toronto to face the Leafs, who are strong at home. You got Austin Matthews, you got Nylander, you got Mitch Marner, you got Tavares, you got Knives, Pacioretty, Max Domi. Like the playmakers on Toronto never stop. The problem with Toronto is they always let us down when they're just expected to come out and get a big win. I'd rather take the Ducks team total under 1.5 than I would take anything on Toronto, because you just never know how they're going to show up. I think the Ducks struggle to score, though. So that's where I will go with this one. Okay. Good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful start to the day. And you're going to ride with the LA Kings on the money line and Colorado on the money line. I love the plus money on the Kings today. And Colorado Hell yeah. You know I'm taking Colorado on the puck line today. We'll get to that game in a couple minutes, but first we're going to talk about the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the New York Islanders. Now, current lines on this, the Chicago Blackhawks are a plus 155 dog here on the road, rolling into New York to take on the Isles. The Isles coming in at minus 188. Total sitting here at 5.5, minus 114 to the under, and minus 106 to the over currently on a FanDuel. Sonderblom is your expected goalie for the Chicago Blackhawks, and Sorokin for the Isles. And now when I make my bets, I'm giving you what I know as of now, the expected goaltenders. Again, we don't have confirmation. So if you're watching this later in the afternoon, please check those goaltending matchups. I want to get out this information as early as possible, so I'm going off the expected. If all of a sudden these goaltenders change, please make sure you think twice and look at the records of these goaltenders versus these teams. And this is for all of the games, not just for this one. So those are your expected. We're seeing the Chicago Blackhawks struggle to score. Their power play is strong, though. So this team, 5-on-5, isn't really getting the job done, but you put them on the power play and they've been able to convert at 23.3%. The problem with the Isles really is their special teams. Their kill, it's non-existent. Worst kill in the league, 65.6% kill rate only. It's not good enough for me to lay any kind of juice here on the Isles in this one at home. They're 5-7-2 at home on the season, sitting 6th in the Metro. And we look at the Chicago Blackhawks. Not a good road record at all. 5-9-2 on the road, but I do think they can cover the puck line in this one. The problem is with that puck line, again, this is a live betting opportunity. I do think if we can see the Isles go out first, which we might not, and we might lose the best of the numbers with the Chicago Blackhawks, but if we can see the Isles go out first, I want to live bet this plus 1.5 for better value. Like that's coming in at minus 110, and then some more value on the money line here, because I do think Chicago has the opportunity of pulling off the upset because of their power play, especially if the Isles come out and play a dirty game. Now, the Isles don't take a lot of penalty minutes, so that kill rate, there's going to be less opportunities for Chicago to be able to convert. But I do think here we have the opportunity if the Isles go up. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to bet this one going into it. If I had to bet it going into it, it'd be the puck line for Chicago. But again, I don't like the juice with the sprinkle on that money line. I want to save my bet until this game kicks off, hoping the Isles go up first and then coming in. And if the Isles don't go up first and Chicago goes up first, I'm completely just going to stay off of it and watch this one play out. If you like Thursday trends, like if you like those Thursday, Friday, Saturday, weekday trends, whatever, there's a strong trend here for the Chicago Blackhawks on the road on a Thursday, losing their last 12. So that's for anyone that likes those kind of trends. Jason Dickerson has scored a goal in each of the Blackhawks last 2 games versus the Islanders. So that is your strongest playmaker here versus the Islanders. And I'll just look at his value here for that anytime goal for you. Connor Bedard coming in at plus 260. Now, Jason Dickerson over on FanDuel is plus 550 for the anytime goal. I think it's worth looking at him. Again, this is going to be a lower scoring game. I fully believe it stays under that total of 5.5. So it's hard to really look at playmakers when I'm looking at it under, but that's who I would look at if you really want to look at someone. The Isles in reg would be another way to look at this game, because while I think the Blackhawks could have the possibility of pulling it off, the Islanders still have that last change home ice advantage. They've got no games till Sunday, and these games will play again in Chicago on Sunday. The Islanders have the Devils on Saturday, so they will be on the second night of a back-to-back in Chicago facing the Islanders. Could we get a road-home split kind of thing here where Chicago wins today on the road and the Isles win on the road, so road-road split on Sunday? We absolutely could, because Chicago will have a game versus Devils on Saturday, so they'll be home on the second night of a back-to-back. So we could see Chicago win today, or we could see Isles sweep the both. I do think the Isles win in Chicago on Sunday because of that second night of back-to-back, because they're facing the Devils. So that is where I would go with those, you guys. You could look at the Isles, like I said, in reg. That's coming in at minus 115. Yeah, I think the under. I really do think the under is a strong play. We know Chicago struggles to score. Kevin, good morning to you. You played Detroit's team total over 2.5 and the Ducks team total under 2.5. I love it at plus 145. Nice work on that one, Chip. I like where you're going, getting that plus money, parlaying those together. Let's talk the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks taking on the St. Louis Blues. This should be a really interesting matchup. Now, if you've been not even under a rock, if you just really haven't been paying attention to trades happening in the NHL, because so much freaking stuff is going on there in the sports world that you just can't keep up on everything, then you probably don't know that Georgiev of Colorado was traded to San Jose for Mackenzie Blackwood. Mackenzie Blackwood, hats off to him, moving to the Colorado Avalanche, and Georgiev to the San Jose Sharks. Now, which goaltender is happier about that move? It's Mackenzie Blackwood. Hard to leave your team, yes, but definitely a step up, joining the Colorado Avalanche over being here in San Jose versus the Sharks. And no disrespect to the San Jose Sharks. You guys know this is a team that makes us money. We have had great playmakers like Tyler Toffoli really stepping up for us, celebrating. We had Mackenzie Blackwood in net, was a moneymaker. Georgiev has had his struggles with the Colorado Avalanche, and now what are we going to see out of him making his debut for the San Jose Sharks on the road? Georgiev is a mixed bag of issues for us in betting. He can either come out fantastic or he can let every single beach ball in the back of his net. I do think he has to stand up. He's got to be frustrated with himself that he was traded away from Colorado. You guys, I don't even know. It would be like someone it had to be like Brock Purdy traded to the Giants. Like, if you want to talk football, the 49ers down to the Giants. Like, it's that kind of trade out there. So I feel for Georgiev. I think he comes out nice and strong in this one. At least he wasn't sent down to the AHL, right? So that is good for him. I do think Georgiev will have a strong performance here versus St. Louis. St. Louis is a strong team. I like what they've been doing out there on the ice. We know we've got the playmakers for St. Louis, but St. Louis, when you think of them, they're not a really high-scoring team. They're more of a team, and yes, some of these games have been, but they're a defensive-minded team out here. Binghamton in goal. He's got really strong numbers versus the Sharks. Jordan Binghamton is at 8-1-1 in 12 games versus the Sharks. That goals against average is a 246. The save percentage is 914. I'm counting on Georgiev to come out strong. The Sharks need to address their defensive issues. So the Sharks on defense have been struggling out there. They need to be stronger, need to give Georgiev the support. So scary, you guys, and especially when Dylan Holloway has been on such a hot streak for the St. Louis Blues here that you go, God, could Georgiev give this game away? He could. It's an uneasy feeling. I don't think so. I think he stands on his freaking head tonight. He's got to be so mad. He's got to want to prove the Colorado Avalanche wrong that they did the wrong thing trading him. I will look at the Sharks team total under 2.5 goals. I think those trends for Binghamton is so strong. Again, I told you guys, you're going to hate me if you're an over better. The under 2.5 goals for the San Jose Sharks, you got to lay juice. Minus 122. I know we got Tyler Toffoli. I know we've got Celebrini, but I look at this defense here of the St. Louis Blues and what they're able to do and what Binghamton's able to do. I want to take the under 2.5 here instead of looking at the full game to the under, because of the fact it is Georgiev. I expect him to stand on his head. I expect this to be a low-scoring game. But I think your best bet is to just isolate the Sharks team total to that under, because Binghamton's been able to prove himself. Georgiev, he needs to prove himself to me before I can take an under in this game. Now, I would think, and this is a bit of a gamble, so that is where I'm going. I think that best bet is the under 2.5, but I just want to pull up an alt total for you, because I think St. Louis wins this 2-1 or 2-0. So I just want to look at the alt totals in this one. The under 2.5 goals is plus 1,500. You guys, I have to take the alt goals under 2.5. If this blows up in my face in the first period, which it very much could, I would be able to sleep at night. The under 3.5 goals coming in at plus 450. I'm going to put a quarter of a unit on each of those. I really do think St. Louis wins this 2-1 or 2-1 or 2-0. So the 2-1 puts us under 3.5 at plus 450. The 2-0 puts us at plus 1,500. So hold on to your hats if you're in this one. Could we get 10 goals? Yeah, but I don't think we're getting it. It's like, could we? Yes. Do you think so? No. So that is where I'm going, you guys. But I do think it's the Sharks. Georgiev, better not let us down. Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou have combined for 5 assists in the last 2 games versus the Sharks. So something to keep in mind if you're looking for those playmakers. And Holloway scored a goal in 5 of the last 6 for the St. Louis Blues. So Dylan Holloway has been your key playmaker out there for them. Let's look at the Nashville Predators. They are taking on the Dallas Stars. Oh, and one thing to note about the St. Louis Blues as well, they will need Binghamton to stand on their head. They need their defense to come out really strong. And I think another reason for that under is because you look at their offense, you look at them returning home. This is their first game home off a 4-game road trip, which is normally a fade, but I can't really fade them here because of Georgiev. And then they went 3-1 on that road trip. So another good reason to fade. Another good reason to fade here is they're back out on the road on Saturday versus the Dallas Stars. They're coming home for 1 game off a 4-game road trip, then headed back out on the road. Binghamton has to stand on his freaking head. The defense has to lock down. Offense is going to be tired out here, you guys, and I expect the offense to be looking ahead. The Sharks have the possibility if Georgiev can play tight to keep it lower scoring. If they keep it that low scoring, they have the opportunity of beating the St. Louis Blues. That's why I don't really love a side here either. Just give me the under. Give me the Sharks team total under 2.5. Could they win this 2-1? Yeah, and that still keeps us under that 3.5 at plus 450 or plus 420, whatever that was at. So that is where I'll go. The Nashville Predators versus the Dallas Stars, you guys. The Nashville Predators are coming in as the underdog at plus 180. Who wants to put money on the Nashville Predators? I absolutely don't. The Dallas Stars are a minus 220 favorite on that puck line, minus 1.5 at plus 118. Another total of 5.5 plus money to the under 5.5. Sign me up to the under on the team total of the Nashville Predators. The Nashville Predators have a total of 2.5 to the under at minus 132. Yes, it's juicy. This is a team that has been able to cover the puck line in their last 5 versus the Central, but they've lost their last 8 games. They lost on Tuesday to the Flames at home 4-3. I don't trust them to put up the goals here versus the Dallas Stars and Jake Ottinger in net. Jake Ottinger has been playing outstanding, and the Dallas Stars love to get up, lock down on the defensive side of things and really limit their opponent's ability to get those shots on goal. I think you could also look at the Dallas Stars in the first period on that puck line to come out and get the win in the first period. They did win back in October 4-3. So in that one, they allowed those goals to come in. They allowed 3 goals, but I think this is a stronger performance out of the Dallas Stars. I think Dallas wins this 3-1 or 3-2, but I don't think the Preds go over that team total of 2.5. So under 2.5 at minus 132. Ryan O'Reilly is out, lower body injury. Roman Josi is day to day. So with those 2 playmakers, question marks, especially around Roman Josi, if he'll be on the ice. I don't want to touch the Dallas Stars team total either way, and I don't want to touch the game total either way either. If Ryan O'Reilly all of a sudden gets back out there, which I don't think he will, but Roman Josi has the ability, we could see a difference in this total. So just give me the under here for the Nashville Predators team total. This team is only averaging 2.21 goals per game, and we see the Dallas Stars allowing that 2.56. It's really interesting that the Predators, they're not scoring enough. Their defense has struggled with Saros. Their kill, though, is strong. They have the best kill in the whole league. It is mind-blowing, which should keep us under that total, right? When you look at their kills, 87.1%. Again, best in the league. This team's still struggling, still lost their last 8. And yes, some of these games have been tight. But looking at that road record, they've won 2 whole games on the road. 2-9-4 on the road this season, not somewhere I want to put my money. They've lost their last 11 games as a dog as well. They're 9-24 in their last 33 games as an underdog over a $2 underdog. So not a strong team to pull off those upsets, that is for sure. Now that line has moved to plus 180. So I shake my head when I look at them and I just think there's no way they can't get it done. It's got to be the Dallas Stars. I think the Dallas Stars probably covered the puck line in this one, but just let's fade these teams that we know are going to struggle to score. Okay, the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Winnipeg Jets. Not the Washington Capitals. We got Vegas versus Winnipeg tonight. Now, Winnipeg at home, we know such a strong suit for this team. Mark Stone, if you didn't see, was out in Vegas's last game. So having their captain back out there on the ice is definitely an uptick here for the Vegas Golden Knights. Plus 105 for them on the money line here on the road. And if you guys didn't catch Jack Eichel's comments about the Vegas flu and how he loves facing some of these teams when they've rolled into Vegas and they spent 2-3 days in Vegas before the game, going into the casino, the strip clubs, drinking, gambling. He said it all, in that the Vegas flu really gives them the edge. So they're not in Vegas tonight, though. They are in Winnipeg. I just thought those comments were absolutely hilarious. Minus 126 here for the Winnipeg Jets, and so true. We got a total of 5.5, minus 114 to the over. Now, when you first look at this, you know both of these teams love to lock down on the defensive side. You saw Vegas in that game versus Edmonton lock down, winning that one, 1-0, 2-0. They completely shut out the Edmonton Oilers. Their defense played solid, and both of these teams can do this. Both of these teams also can come out. They can hit these goaltenders hard and open up that scoring and put us into a higher scoring game. I wanted to take the under 5.5, but the more I thought about it, if one of these teams has a little puck luck, scores early in this game, we're just going to continue the goal fest in this one, even though they both have the ability to lock down. There will be that sort of energy that does shift out there on the ice as soon as that first puck hits the back of the net. So I want to take the under 5.5. I want to take the first period under 1.5, but I'm just not going to get there. I'm going to look at the team that I think can get the win. The Winnipeg Jets are so phenomenally strong on their own home ice. I have to go there. Now, you have to lay juice on the Winnipeg Jets, but I do believe it is worth it at minus 126. That line has dropped a little bit. It was minus 128 earlier. Connor Hellebuck is looking so strong in goal. He's elite. He's got a 2.09 goals against average, a 927 save percentage. And Aiden Hill in his last 13 games has a 922 save percentage, a 2.16 goals against average. This is a goaltending duel between these two. I really do think they both have strong performances, but I'm not willing to bank on this one staying under with the firepower, especially you add Mark Stone back in the lineup here for Vegas. Mark Stone and Jack Eichel on the ice together. It's a thing of beauty, you guys. And then you look at, you just look at the playmakers here as well for Winnipeg. You look at Winnipeg's ability to score on that power play, and both of these teams have so much firepower out there. Now, we've seen the Vegas Golden Knights win the last 8 versus the Winnipeg Jets. So if you're going, what the heck, why are you taking Winnipeg? I can't get behind Vegas in this one. I do think Winnipeg with the last change will get things done, especially with how that power play is playing. Barbashev has scored at least 1 goal in each of the Vegas Golden Knights' last 3 against the Jets. So if you want to look at him here for Vegas, and then Josh Morrissey, I think is a really interesting look. The defenseman here for the Winnipeg Jets, I think he comes out nice and strong in this game. Now, he hasn't scored a goal in his last 19 games. His last goal came versus the Columbus Blue Jackets on November 1st. Josh Morrissey, I think the power play point is in play, but I think the goal is too. You know, when you just get those gut feelings, you start looking at players, playmakers for the day. He is my long shot for the anytime goal. It's coming in at plus 600. Let's look at him for the power play point. I already took him for the anytime goal. I want to take him for the power play point as well. I think Josh Morrissey and the Winnipeg Jets on that power play will be able to convert today. His power play point coming in at plus 210. So that is where I'm going to go when we talk later about the players and the points to parlay together. I definitely take Josh Morrissey for the points. So just something to look at. Vegas won that last matchup November 4th. It wasn't November 4th. It was early November, but they won it 4-3. And that's where I'm going. Like when you look at this total, everything makes sense for them to lock down defensively. The goaltenders make sense. Mark Stone's back in this lineup. Jack Eichel. Winnipeg is going to have to convert on the power play. They're going to have to shut down Mark Stone and Jack Eichel, which we know is so phenomenally hard to do. And I just think we have another game that we hit 6 goals in it. Could this game go to overtime? Absolutely. I think we have a really strong bet with this one to go to overtime. The overtime odds on this one, let me just pull them up for you guys. To go to overtime is coming in at plus 300. The books are hedging, or they're limiting their risk on this one at plus 300. Definitely going to hit this one to go to overtime. Let's look at the next game, 8:30 Eastern mark, you guys, with the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Minnesota Wild. Current odds on this, the Oilers rolling in at minus 150 favorites here on the road versus the Minnesota Wild at plus 125. First look at this line. I shook my head and said, why? We got a total of 5.5, minus 132 to the over, plus 108 to the under. Under bettors, you're with me at plus 108, right? Skinner, though, I have such a hard time trusting Skinner. The last time he faced the Minnesota Wild, he allowed 4 goals on 26 shots. If the Wild do that in this game and Kaprizov has been hot, we're going over that total. So it is a scary bet here to look at this one to stay under. But we know Edmonton can play these lockdown defensive battles out there. They're at home on Saturday versus Vegas. So I worry this could be a little bit of a look ahead to matchup in the Pacific on deck at home. They've won their last 3. They're off a 2-1 home win versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. So they were able to limit the Lightning. You look at how impressive that is with how hot the offense can be there of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Holding them to that 1 goal was impressive. Do they have enough in their defense and their goaltending to do it 2 games in a row? Biggest question mark, because the Minnesota Wild are so strong on the defensive side of things. I love what this defense can do. Offensively, they can put up those goals as well. And like I said, Kaprizov has been hot. Gustafsson has been standing on his head, and he stood on his head in his 2 games versus the Oilers with a .915 save percentage. It goes against average of 3, though. So that number is a little higher. We did see the last time these teams matched up, that high-scoring win out of the Minnesota Wild. It was a 5-3 win. I'm going to take the home dog. I still don't understand why we're getting plus money on the Minnesota Wild here. They're 0-4 on the puck line in their last 4 home games. I'm not expecting them to blow out Edmonton. Edmonton's lost their last 6 games in Minnesota, yet they're coming in as the favorite. Someone explain that. Like, I looked at this and I was like, Edmonton can't win in Minnesota was my very first thought when I looked at this line. Why are we getting plus money on Minnesota? What do the books know that we don't? Kaprizov for the anytime goal, I want to look for shots on goal because Edmonton has been playing solid in some of these games, walking down on that defensive side. And like I said, the Wild love to get up, and then they love to lock down. Kaprizov has 18 goals and 25 assists on the season. He has a goal in 4 of his last 5 games. He has 5 shots on goal in 3 of his last 5. But like I said, I would just really limit your risk there with those shots on goal. Okay, let's look at another really interesting matchup. Jamal, thank you so much for your kind comments, you guys. Let's have a day. Let's get on to this next one. I will find out if my mom is going to be at the game for Calgary tonight. It's Thursday, maybe. Maybe they do go to Thursday games. I know she normally doesn't go to a Tuesday game. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Calgary Flames. Now, Calgary, a home dog in this one, coming off that road win that they so desperately needed, versus the Predators, breaking that road losing streak. They're a plus 130 dog here, minus 156 for the Lightning, who are off that loss to the Edmonton Oilers. A tight, low-scoring 2-1 loss for them. Total of 6.5 at this one at minus 128. I like this one to the under. Dustin Wolf is looking to be in net here for the Calgary Flames, and Calgary's been strong at home, and a lot of that has to do with how Dustin Wolf has been playing out there on the season. They're sitting 5th in the Pacific, 10-3-1 at home. So it's been road issues that this team really has been facing. Andre Vasilevsky expected here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is their 3rd game on the road of 4, and their 3rd game in 5 nights. So we could see those tired legs, which then Calgary could push us to the over. But Calgary really hasn't been getting that high caliber offense out there. They haven't been scoring a ton of goals. They are one of the top 10 most penalized teams in the NHL. They need to play smarter hockey out there because their kill is not strong enough to support the amount of penalties they take. I still expect some penalties to come in this one, and they're going to have to be so careful because the Lightning's power play is clicking at 25.3. And like I said, their kill is weak at 73% of the time. I'm going to look at the first period. For these teams to play clean in the first period, I'm going to be shaking my head if Calgary can't play clean in the first period. I'm going to take the first period under 1.5 goals. I know it's scary, you guys. It's coming in at plus 100. I'm trusting in Vasilevsky and Dustin Wolf to come out nice and strong to start this. I do think you look at Calgary off a road win. They have come back home and won their last 8. So it's a nice trend. If you're looking to back Calgary, I try to find trends for you guys that give you, like, puts it in your head different ways that you can look at these games. I think that's a nice support for them. They're also strong at home. They've covered that puck line in their last 5 games at home. They have the ability to pull off the upset if Wolf plays like I expect him to play, if it stays a lower scoring game. But at the end of the day, you have a better team in the Tampa Bay Lightning offensively and defensively, and Vasilevsky has more experience in that. So everything on paper says the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'll take the first period under 1.5. Hoping defense and goaltending lock down in the first period. I will look at Braden Point here for the power play point for the Tampa Bay Lightning. If you guys didn't know, Braden Point is a local Calgarian, born and raised in Calgary. His power play point for him back in the city he was born at, which, you know, friends and family will be there. He's coming in at plus 280 for that power play. And because Calgary they'll shoot themselves in the foot. They won't be able to stay out of the box. I think looking at him to be able to convert a power play point would be fantastic out there. Jo, you are so welcome. Thank you for joining here today. So I would look at that. Jonathan Huberdeau has a 5-game point streak as well coming into tonight. So looking at him for his point, Huberdeau here, Sharankovic has got a goal in 3 of the last 4 home games for the Flames. But again, I think this one is probably lower scoring. So I'm going to be pretty easy on player props in this matchup tonight. Next game, the Utah Hockey Club taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now, we talked about Georgiev being traded to the Sharks. That means Mackenzie Blackwood here for the Colorado Avalanche making his debut tonight. Expected at least. I'm going to actually check. Let's see if we've got full confirmation with some props here for him. No goalie props yet listed over on FanDuel. So tells me not fully confirmed, but I do think if Mackenzie Blackwood comes into this game, this is going to be a straight buy on for me of Colorado on that puck line, laying the 1.5. Now the current value on them on the puck line, laying 1.5 is plus 130. You guys got it at a better number than I did. It was plus 128 earlier in the day. And I do think it's just a straight buy on them versus the Utah Hockey Club. Now, they're minus 184 on the money line, so too highly juiced. We got a total of 6.5 minus 122 to the over in this one, and plus 152 for the Utah Hockey Club if you think they can come in and pull off that upset in Colorado. They're off that loss to the Wild in a shootout on Tuesday. That was a 5-4 loss on their own home ice, and Colorado coming in here. Winning their last 3, they got the win over the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-2 on Tuesday. They got the Predators on Saturday, then a road trip on Monday. So no look-ahead spot for me in this one. We have seen Utah win their last 4 road games. They've also kept it tight as an underdog covering the puck line in the last 7. I think it ends tonight, especially if Blackwood comes in. I would look at Blackwood's save shots on goal. We know Colorado has been giving up some shots, but they've been doing a better job of locking down there, holding opponents overall in the season because of how strong they've looked later this season to 26.4 shots on goal per game. So the kill is weaker here for Utah, and I think we'll see Colorado be able to convert on that power play. Their power play converting at 25.3% of the time. So give me Colorado puck line in this one, and Blackwood, hopefully he stands on his freaking head in this matchup. Let's look at the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins taking on the Seattle Kraken. The Boston Bruins are coming in here, just finding those odds for you guys on FanDuel right now. Bruins are a minus 120 favorite. The Seattle Kraken at plus 100, total of 5.5. Minus 110 to the under. I told you guys would hate me if you're an over better. Under 5.5 for me is my lean in this matchup. I love even better. Like I love. First period under 1.5 at minus 118. I think this is a low scoring defensive battle because the Boston Bruins, what the hell were they doing versus the Winnipeg Jets in their last game out? They allowed 8 goals. Eight goals for the Boston Bruins, a team that is trying to lock down defensively. You know, heads were rolling after that game. They were only able to put up 1 goal themselves. That defense has to come to play. Now, Joey Daccord in net here for Seattle. He has had solid numbers. They're off the loss to the Panthers in a shootout. They were able to hold the Florida Panthers to a 2-1 game. We need that out of Seattle again. I think this one stays under the 1.5. The Boston Bruins have won their last 4 as a favorite, so if you want to look at the Boston Bruins to get the straight-up win, they're coming in at minus 120. Korpisalo should start. Swayman was the goaltender in that last game out to the Winnipeg Jets. They allowed those 8 goals again. He allowed 8 goals, you guys, on 35 shots on net. It wasn't like he allowed 8 goals on 40, 50 shots on goal. He allowed 8 goals on 35 shots on his goal. It was a terrible performance. So we should see Korpisalo out there tonight for the Boston Bruins. And he has been the better goaltender ever since Swayman got paid. Well, you know the story, how that one goes. We've seen Seattle off of overtime lose their last 5 first periods. If you think Boston can get up in that first period and lock down, you can look at the Boston Bruins on the money line in the first period coming in at minus 108. Shane Wright has been good for the Kraken. He has scored a goal in 3 of their last 4 games as well. The Bruins did win and cover the puck line in November as well, winning that 2-0. Low scoring game. I think the under 1.5 in the first period is the best way to go. The Florida Panthers taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Last but not least, you guys, we have Bobrovsky expected here for the Florida Panthers and like again expected for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, as soon as I look at Vancouver, I just think of this home record. This team really struggling at home. Yes, they are 4-6-4 at home on the season. And you look at the Florida Panthers, this team can win and can win on the road. 9-4-1 on the road. They won their last 3. They got the shootout win versus the Kraken 2-1. In their first road game. They're at the Flames on Saturday, I believe. Then they have the Oilers on deck on Monday. They failed to cover that puck line coming off of a shootout wins in the situation they're in. But I do think they cover the puck line in this one versus Vancouver. I just can't get over how much Vancouver struggles at home on the season. Now, Canucks have won 10 of their last 11 versus the Atlantic, and this is the first team in the Atlantic with the Florida Panthers. But like I mentioned with the Toronto Maple Leafs, both of these teams are fighting for that first spot in the Atlantic. I think if Florida loses tonight and Toronto wins, they will be tied. But I have to double check where everyone is, how many points it is in the standings. But that's what is in my head right now. These 2 teams between Toronto and Florida just so tight. Florida leading going into today. So we'll see what happens out there. I think the Florida Panthers can get the win. Matthew Tkachuk, 15 points in his last 6 games before rolling into Seattle. So he was held off the board in that last game versus Seattle, but 6 games prior, 15 points. Matthew Tkachuk should roll hot here versus the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Lankican expected, like I said, in goal. Could we see Demko? Could Demko play again after making his debut? We know Demko last season when he returned would play back-to-back. Not back-to-back, but like when there's like a rest here. Like this team played on Tuesday versus the Blues. They lost that one in OT 4-3. We saw Demko in that, right? So it's Thursday. We could see Demko back, but right now it is like again expected here. I think Quinn Hughes comes out strong. You know those Hughes brothers are so dynamic out there on the ice. Quinn is the Hughes brother in Vancouver, so I think he has a good game in this one. But the Vancouver Canucks have lost their last 6 home games as well as a dog. So I can't get behind them, giving the Florida Panthers. Wow, that was a long show today, you guys. Yeah, I will have my Madden Quickie. Make sure, Tracy, my Madden Quickie, my Cup of Joe will be out as well. My Madden Quickie on the SportsGrid app is always my best bet in the football game for Thursday, Mondays, and Sundays, as well as college football on Saturday. So you check out the SportsGrid app for that. My Cup of Joe will be coming out as well. I'll give you all of the plays in that I like. The Madden Quickie really isolates the top plays. So that is on the SportsGrid app. It's time to lock in those wagers. You guys, are you ready for the recap? 54 minutes to go over each and every single one of these games. And now we're going to recap them. I feel out of breath. It's like I run a marathon. I try to talk as fast as I can as well for you guys. And I recommend if you're watching this on playback, put it at 1.5 speed so you missed a lot of my out there. So as my brain tries to really talk fast enough for you guys. So we're not sitting here for 5 hours. I could talk this for 5 hours if you guys really want to get into each and every one of these games. You know, when there's a 2-game slate, we go 20 minutes, which is a lot for 2 games. But let me have a sip of coffee. Let's do this recap. Let's get into it. Let's make some freaking money out there tonight. Again, we'll do the recap, and then we will do the top players. I would parlay round robin for their points tonight. Now, some of these players just singly might be too juicy for the point, but I'm taking them for the point because I believe they'll get those goals. So within the recap, I'll break down the players I like, the players I like for goals, the players I like for assists. And then in that round robin, I would just look at their points, round robin it there. You could also look at their goals. I have no problem in doing that. You're going to get way more value doing that as well. One sip of coffee, and then let's get going. Okay, you're seeing Scott Wedgwood in tonight. Are you seeing confirmation on that? Let's look at, let me just see. For sure, if he, okay. Let me just check one more thing. I really hope it's not Scott Wedgwood. If I can't say his name today. Okay, I'm not seeing confirmation on FanDuel. I'm not seeing confirmation on another book as well. You guys, if it's Blackwood, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to give you the bets as if it's Mackenzie Blackwood. If it's Scott Wedgwood, that's going to be really weird to do. Mackenzie Blackwood, Scott Wedgwood. It's going to wrap my brain around that for a second. Let's get to the recap. We'll see who the goaltending is. Again, make sure you check those goaltending matchups later in the day if you're watching this. So the LA Kings versus the New Jersey Devils. I'm rolling with the Kings in this one. This Kings team has been rolling extremely hot, winning their last 6, and I do think they can get another win here versus the New Jersey Devils. To be able to get that win, though, they have to stay out of the freaking penalty box. If they're in the penalty box 3 times like they were versus the Isles in their last game out, even though they won that, they will not be able to win it versus the New Jersey Devils, who have the best power play in the league. That power play converting at 31.3%. So the Kings on the money line, they have to stay out of the freaking box. They win this in a 3-2 style game. This game stays under the 5.5. That's coming in at plus money. Kopitar for his assist tonight at plus 110. Kopitar has an assist in his last 4 games and 8 of his last 9. I'd look at Timo Meier for the anytime goal. Again, it's hard to take those anytime goals when you're looking at a lower scoring game, but that is who I do think will be able to get that goal. Timo Meier plus 250. He has 10 goals and 5 assists in his last 10 versus the Kings. The Detroit Red Wings versus the Philadelphia Flyers. Cam Talbot is the stronger goaltender in this matchup, and I am going to roll with the Red Wings with that plus money straight up on the money line. I like them here as the dog. Like I told you guys, not my favorite bet of the day, but the Red Wings have made my card. I have jumped on them on that plus money. I think the Isles here, they're not blowing anyone out here at home. They don't instill enough confidence for me to take them on the money line here with a backup goaltender in. This is also their 4th game in 6 nights. The Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Man, I'm liking a lot of dogs. We got a home dog in Montreal here. I'm hoping the Pens can go up first and we can get more value on Montreal, but I think Montreal at the home dog at minus 104 price still holds value. Patrick Laine and Cole Caulfield for those anytime goals is definitely where I'm going to look in this matchup tonight. I know Pittsburgh has been looking stronger on defense and goaltending, but I'm not buying into it that it's completely sound out there, and that's why I'm rolling with Montreal, even though the Pittsburgh Penguins have won the last 5 meetings versus the Montreal Canadiens. So it's risky. The Washington, what isn't risky though in betting, you guys? The Washington Capitals taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Give me the Columbus Blue Jackets team total under 2.5. I know they're at home and have last change, but Logan Thompson has been so strong in his career versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's also been so strong as of late, giving up 2 or less goals in 4 of his last 5 games, and I think he just has another strong performance in this one. Dylan Strome for the power play point tonight's coming in at plus 200. He has 10 power play assists and 2 power play goals on the season, and I think he is able to capitalize on Jack Greaves coming out here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think he has his struggles. 9 games last season with a 3.49 goals against average, so Dylan Strome should continue to roll hot. We did see in the last matchup between these two, the Washington Capitals win that 7-2 back in November. The Anaheim Ducks taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs, such a big favorite. It's pretty gross here, even on that puck line. I trust in Dostal to keep things tight here. Stoller, as has been confirmed, not Joseph Wall, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs have won their last 6 at home versus the Ducks. I think you look at this one to stay under that total of 5.5. You look at the Leafs, that power play hasn't been clicking. 1-8 on the power play in their last 3 games. It's only converting at 19.3% on the year. So I struggle to see the Leafs putting up a ton of goals on a goaltender I trust. So I will take the under 5.5. Dostal has to be great out here. We've seen him in his last performance versus the Leafs fall flat on his face, and in the game before, he was able to stand nice and tall. The Ducks team total is probably your safest bet under that 1.5, especially at plus 150. Like I said, I do think the Ducks really only put up 1 goal in this game. If they put up 2, this is a game you could alt that total to the under 4.5, under 3.5. I think both of those have the possibilities of hitting. Could we see the under 2.5? It would have to be a 2-0 win here for the Leafs for me to get behind that under 2.5, but I do think it could come into play. The Chicago Blackhawks and the New York Islanders, the Isles in regulation feels like the right way to take this game. That's coming in at minus 115. I also think the Chicago Blackhawks have the possibility of covering the puck line as long as it stays in that lower scoring situation, which I think it should. Chicago struggles to score, but the Isles have a terrible kill. 2-1. Game here for me. I'm looking at for the Isles to get the win. So the Blackhawks plus 1.5. It's too juicy on the money line. I'm hoping the Isles go up in the first period, and I can live bet this one with the Chicago Blackhawks plus 1.5 at that price. And then because I think this is such a low scoring game, I'm probably going to sprinkle on Chicago to come back and get the straight up win. They would have to win at 2-1 for me to still go under. Well, no, the total 5.5. So we should be good with that one. Jason Dickinson has been strong here for Chicago, being able to get those goals on the board. I just want to see more value on Chicago before I really bet them. The San Jose Sharks versus the St. Louis Blues. Georgiev expected here to make his debut for the Sharks. Bennington expected for the St. Louis Blues. Now, we don't know what we're going to get out of Georgiev, right? He could come out strong and in his debut. Absolutely. And that's what I want to see, and that's what I expect to see. But we know Georgiev has absolutely had his struggles there. I think the Sharks on the puck line makes sense, plus the 1.5 at minus 160. The juice just isn't. It's too high for me to back it. So this is another live betting situation. If we can see St. Louis go up first, I expect Bennington to stand on his head. I expect this to be a lower scoring game, staying under that total of 5.5. I'm going to look here at the San Jose Sharks team total only to the under in case Georgiev gives up those goals. So the San Jose Sharks under 2.5 goals at minus 122, I think is your best bet. Dylan Holloway to continue to stay hot is coming in at plus 320 for the St. Louis Blues for the goal. The Nashville Predators and the Dallas Stars. Give me the Preds team total under 2.5 goals at minus 132. This team cannot find the back of the net, it feels like, to save their lives. They got a strong kill here in the Dallas Stars, especially against the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars with Jake Oettinger in goal, I think they struggle to score. I'm looking for the Stars to win this 3-1 or 3-2. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets, I want to take this so bad to the under because I expect both of these teams should come out with that defensive style. But if one team gets any puck luck, this game will go off the rails and we will have some pond hockey out there. We know the Winnipeg Jets really can convert on that power play. We know Mark Stone back in the lineup here with Jack Eichel as well for Vegas. So I can't touch the total, you guys. It's going to be a fun one either way. I love that defensive hockey. I love the high-scoring offensive hockey. Winnipeg straight up on the money line is my best bet. Now, Josh Morrissey, weird gut feeling when I started looking at playmakers today who could get on the board for them. Then I started looking at when the last time Josh Morrissey scored because we haven't talked about him very much. We talked about him on that power play, though. Plus 200 for the power play point. Plus 600 for the goal. 19-game cold streak here for Josh Morrissey not getting on the board. I'm going to look at him to get it done tonight. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Minnesota Wild. Again, shaking my head. Why? Why is Edmonton the favorite on the road here when they've lost their last 6 in Minnesota and have Vegas on deck? I think it's a terrible scheduling spot. They're off that overtime win versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they lose this one. The Wild with that plus money at home, sign me up. I think this is a lower scoring game. Kaprizov for that anytime goal I'd look at as well. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Calgary Flames. Dustin Wolf expected in net for Calgary. Vasilevsky expected here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The under 1.5 goals in the first period. We're going to hold our breath, close our eyes, and hope to God that we get only 1 goal or less in that first period. That's coming in at plus 100. I expect the defensive lockdown on both sides. Braden Point is returning to Calgary, though, and he was born and raised in Calgary. Plus 280 to get a goal in front of his hometown. Jonathan Huberdeau has been strong in Sharankovic for the Calgary Flames, but again, lower scoring game. I don't want to touch too many players. Braden Point is my favorite. The Utah Hockey Club versus Colorado. We're not sure on goaltending. Okay, so you are seeing the confirmation of Wedgwood on the daily faceoff. Okay. Wedgwood and Blackwood. I wanted to take Colorado, but you know what? Colorado still only allows 26.4 shots on goal per game. Utah has been playing strong. I do think Colorado can win this, cover that puck line. The only thing is, if they cover the puck line in this one, I think Utah still puts up the goals. So with Scott Wedgwood in, I'm going to look at the over 6.5. Actually, let me just double check the total here as I lost my mouse. Don't you guys love when your mouse just disappears off your page? Utah will put up a couple goals. So the over 6.5 at minus 122. I still think the Avs could win this in that higher scoring battle. Minus 1.5 at plus 128. But Utah has played teams tight. So it's just a hard place to play. Colorado is giving more support. They should look to lock down in this one. Give me the over 6.5. They won the last meeting over Utah 5-1 as well. I'm still gonna put that puck line in minus 1.5 at plus 128. The Boston Bruins taking on the Seattle Kraken. Swayman shouldn't be in it. Should be Korpisalo. Make sure you check those goaltending matchups. If it's Swayman, straight fade. Take the Seattle Kraken. But I think with Korpisalo in, we could see the Bruins still get that win. They've won their last 4 as a favorite. My favorite bet, though, is as long as it's not Swayman, the under 1.5 in the first period. If it's Swayman, Seattle could win this first period 3-0. So I can't get there. This is a team, though, that's lost their last 5 first periods in the Seattle Kraken. I'm expecting the slow start, the defensive start out of both of these teams, especially when Boston got destroyed by the Jets in their last one. So give me the under 1.5 in the first period. I told you guys those under bets today. And then the Florida Panthers taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Bobrovsky expected here for the Florida Panthers. Lankican expected for the Vancouver Canucks. Again, check this. Make sure it's not Demko coming back in. Not seeing confirmation as of yet. Vancouver, you just can't trust at home. 4-6-4 at home on the season. I don't trust this team to limit the Florida Panthers, who have been so strong offensively. They've won their last 3. Lower scoring game, though, versus the Kraken. Matthew Tkachuk was held off the board. Again, before being held off the board in the last game, he had 15 points in only 6 games, you guys. Matthew Tkachuk is your playmaker I'd look at tonight for the Florida Panthers. The Canucks have won their last 10 of their last 11 versus the Atlantic at home, but I can't back this team here at home. So give me the Florida Panthers on the puck line, laying 1.5 at plus 145. Okay, so we got full confirmation. It is Scott Wedgwood. So thank you guys for that. David, you are so welcome. Let's look at those players for the points tonight. And again, you can round robin them for their points, for their goals, for whatever you are liking out there. But they would be the playmakers that I'm really looking to step up. So I'm going to put this parlay in right after. So I'm just going to write it down here, who I am liking and where I'm going. If I have a pen that works, I swear my notebooks are so thick that my pens never have ink in them because I write so much. For the Florida Panthers, I'm looking at Matthew Tkachuk. You know we got to look at Matthew Tkachuk with how strong he's been with being held off the board in the last one. I do think he is your playmaker. Now, I'm going to skip the Boston and Seattle game, just not too in love with that one. Utah and Colorado, you know Nathan MacKinnon to get that point tonight for the Avs will be a play. Clayton Keller, I'd probably look at for Utah. Let's just keep Nathan MacKinnon in there. I am going to look at Braden Point for the Lightning for his point tonight. I love him to come out nice and strong for the Lightning back at home in this one. I'm also looking at Kaprizov here for the Wild and Josh Morrissey for the Jets. So those would be your top 5. You guys, I know I've got playmakers across the board in all of the other games. Like Holloway has been so strong, right? So you could look at so many different other players. These are my top 5 though. So let's just quickly put that into a parlay. I've got to open each and every tab here on FanDuel to get those done. So just bear with me. So Matthew Tkachuk, just for the point, it's really juicy. It's minus 230. But let's just see when we go through all of these playmakers and what we are getting when we parlay them. For the point, Nathan MacKinnon, oh, that is disgusting. It's plus or minus 5 at 20. But again, we're going to just see if we can get a parlay here for this. Hang on. Braden Point. Okay, so those 3 legs is coming in at plus 156. Let's add Kaprizov for the Minnesota Wild. I actually really feel strong about all of these guys getting a point tonight. So Kaprizov coming in at minus 390. And then Josh Morrissey there for the Winnipeg Jets. He's probably your longest shot, but I love an offensive defenseman. We saw Adam Fox finally get back on track for the Rangers in that last game, getting that goal. So I hope you guys have been riding Adam Fox. I talked about that. I can't remember. I kept putting him in for that goal. It was so many games that we rode with that. Okay, so those 5 legs, if you take all of those guys for the point tonight, that's coming in at plus 470 for the point. So that is Matthew Tkachuk, Nathan MacKinnon, Braden Point, Kaprizov, and Josh Morrissey, all for a point coming in at plus 470 parlay together. The playmakers I would look at for the goal tonight, for the point straight up. The only guy that has value just for the point straight up is Josh Morrissey at minus 130. Still juicy. Kaprizov, I do think comes out strong. I do think Kaprizov gets a goal. When you're looking at the goals, I'm taking all of this out, you guys, though. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to look at the goals for these guys instead of the points. But again, I think Josh Morrissey, you can bet, because his goal tonight is plus 600. So I think actually it's moved up to plus 700 for his goal. If you're doing the goals here, I would round robin the goals. So Kaprizov for the Wild. Let me just get all of these in. And then Patrick Laine, and Cole Caulfield. There's so many playmakers out there tonight that really could get on the board. Kaprizov's goals coming in at plus 115, you guys. So I would look at him. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, though, I want Braden Point for the power play point. That's where I want to go with him. So let's see if we can parlay all of these together. Already it's plus 1620. This is going to be your long shot. Take it to your book if they will give you these together. They're not allowing us to put the power play point in for Braden Point. Okay, so let's just look at the goal for Braden Point. His goal's plus 150. He'll get a goal in front of his home crowd. Nathan McKinnon, we've got to get for Colorado here for you guys as well. Nathan McKinnon coming in for the anytime goal at plus 110. And then Matthew Tkachuk to get on the board here for the Florida Panthers is the last one. So are you guys ready? Any guesses on how much value you're going to get if you parlay them straight up? Okay, so if you parlay Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers for a goal, Nathan McKinnon for a goal for Colorado, Braden Point for a goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning, Kaprizov for a goal for the Wild, and Josh Morrissey for a goal for the Winnipeg Jets. That's coming in at plus 700 for his goal. So it's coming in at 26,990. That is your long shot parlay. Like I said, I would round robin it. If you round robin it and put it on by twos, a $1 bet pays you back 103.39. So if you get two, a $1 bet pays you back 103.39 if you get two of those. So then you'd have to bet every leg. Yeah, I think that is smart. 5-leg parlay. If you go up to 3, you're going to be returned 329. So I like that. I would take the round robin 2 times, times the 10. And yeah, you're going to end up laying $10. But if one of those legs hits, you're going to return 103.39. So that would be my round robin for the day, you guys. I hope you like that. Again, that is the round robin. Josh Morrissey of the Winnipeg Jets for a goal. Kaprizov for the goal of the Minnesota Wild. Brandon Point for the goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nathan McKinnon for the goal for the Colorado Avalanche. And Matthew Tkachuk for the Florida Panthers. Again, round robining those guys. You need just $1 wager on each of those 2-line combinations or 2-goal combinations. One hits, you're getting back 103.39. So $10 bet. At worst, if only one combo hits, 103. I would bet, especially like some of these separately, they're all holding value. So, but I like to put a lot of bets in. So that is where I'm going. That is what I'm doing. I'm going to get these bets in now. You guys, thanks again for joining me here for Puck It with Jo over on SportsGrid TV. Super long show today. A Cup of Joe will be coming out, and then stay tuned to the SportsGrid app for the Madden Quickie. That will be out shortly as well. I appreciate each and every single one of you for joining me here. If you can hit that like button, hit that retweet button, and let's make some freaking money tonight. I'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern. 1 game on the ice. We'll talk. If you guys want to talk something else tomorrow, let me know what else you want to talk. Talk to you soon.